Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Ethereum is continuing the break to the downside, while Bitcoin is also heading towards this technical price target. But on top of that, tomorrow, the Federal Reserve will be set to raise interest rates again, which could heavily affect the markets. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, talking about the upcoming FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting, set to happen tomorrow. In fact, it will be happening at 6 p.m. GMT time on the 26th of July. And if you're looking at the expectations right now, both consensus and the trading economics forecast is predicting a 25 basis point hike, which means raising interest rates by 0.25%. And if you're taking a look at what the market is currently already pricing in, right now looking at the futures market, this is pricing in for a 25 basis point hike. In fact, a 25 basis point hike has been completely priced in, and the market is actually pricing in around a 1% chance of a 50 basis point hike, which means raising interest rates by 0.5%. So essentially, as of right now, based on market expectations, it's almost certain that we're going to get a 25 basis point hike tomorrow, raising interest rates once again by 0.25%, because as of right now, basically the entire market has already priced in that 25 basis point hike, which means if it does happen, we shouldn't really see too much volatility. But if we see anything other than a 25 basis point hike, that could bring about a lot more volatility in the market. And generally speaking, the lower interest rates are, the more bullish that should be for markets, and the higher interest rates are, the more bearish that should be for markets. So basically, because the markets have already priced in for another 25 basis point hike happening tomorrow, once again, if that scenario plays out, then that's relatively neutral for the market. But if we see no rate hike, so if the Fed keeps interest rates the same tomorrow, then that would be considered the bullish scenario, and we could see a volatile move back to the upside. But if we end up seeing the Federal Reserve raise interest rates by 50 basis points, once again, raising interest rates by 0.5%, then in that case, considering not much of the market is really pricing in for that, obviously we would likely see a short-term dump across the markets. And now if we end up seeing the expected outcome, the outcome that's already been priced in, once again a 25 basis point hike tomorrow, then as I just said earlier, we shouldn't really see a lot of volatility if that happens, but we could still see some short-term volatility around the Fed press conference, Jerome Powell's press conference, which happens around half an hour after the Fed interest rate decision. So once again, the Fed interest rate decision, when we actually get the new interest rate numbers, that comes out at 6 p.m. in the GMT time zone tomorrow on the 26th of July. And then around half an hour later is Jerome Powell's press conference. And basically, depending on what he says, the Federal Reserve is thinking about rates moving forward. That could also potentially affect markets in the short term. But as always, I will be updating on all of this in real time as soon as it happens over on my Twitter. So if you do not follow me on my Twitter, make sure you're doing that. The link is down below in the description and in the pinned comment for real-time updates. And now, just before getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts, first quickly reminding you that right now, the World Series of Trading, the largest crypto trading event in the world, has officially opened its registrations. And this year, there is a total prize pool of up to 8 million USDT to be won, and also a brand new Lamborghini Huracan and multiple Rolex watches. And for the third year in a row, I will be hosting an official cryptoworld team in the World Series of Trading. So far, there's already 10 team members in my cryptoworld team. And basically how it works is if the cryptoworld team places well in the competition, then all of you who are members in the cryptoworld team can potentially get a share in this massive $8 million prize pool. And the more people that are in our team, the better our chances are at placing well in the competition. And so if you trade crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. I will leave a link to this page right here where you can join my team if you want to, in the description down below and in the pinned comment. In fact, it'll be the first link down below this video. Definitely check that out for this massive prize pool coming up soon. But anyway, now getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, this is on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and obviously as of right now, the super trend indicator is still currently sitting in the green, indicating a larger multi-month long bullish trend like what we saw back here in late 2020 and early 2021, and also back here during late 2021. And so technically speaking, this simply means that the larger multi-month long trend at play is still currently a bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs here on the larger timeframes despite the current short-term pullback. So it's important to understand that even though I might be a little bit more bearish in the short term on the smaller timeframes, that doesn't necessarily change what's happening here on the larger timeframes, just like how we can obviously experience short-term bullish price action during a larger bearish trend or bear market. But anyway, if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, obviously right now Bitcoin is getting a rejection from this strong area of resistance, which goes up towards approximately 31,000. And on top of that, as I've been saying almost every day over the last 2 weeks or so, obviously we have a bearish divergence currently playing out on the daily time frame, which means we should not really be expecting a lot of bullish momentum in the short term, and we're likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin as the most likely outcomes for a bearish divergence. And so obviously this has been playing out as expected so far, and on top of that, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, this is still currently looking more bearish than bullish as of right now. But it is worth pointing out that right now the daily Bitcoin RSI is getting closer towards oversold territories. Obviously we're not there just yet, which technically means we still have some room left to the downside. But if we continue on with this pullback in the short term, potentially over the next 1 week or so, if that actually played out, then in that case, that would likely bring the RSI down towards oversold territories, meaning we have limited room to the downside if that happens, kind of like what we saw back here. And that's usually the point where we see a significant bounce. So obviously, even though we're currently looking more bearish than bullish in the shorter term, obviously this won't last forever. And eventually, if this continues, then this RSI will move to oversold territories, which will be something to watch out for moving forward. But anyway, if you're zooming into a smaller time frame, taking a look at the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is running into the 38.2% Fibonacci level of support. If you look at the Fibonacci retracement tool on the logarithmic settings from swing low to swing high, this 38.2% Fibonacci level is sitting at around 28.9k. And now if we end up seeing a confirmed break well below around 28.9k, then in that case, we would likely see a move down towards the 50% retracement level, which is the next level of support, sitting at around 28,000 to 28.1k. And below 28,000, if that level does not hold, then we have the important golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 27,000 to 27.2k. And now if you're zooming into a smaller time frame, again, taking a look at the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously, as I've been talking about over the last few days, we do have a bearish divergence here on the 2-hour chart, which did activate, as I said in my last video, with a confirmed break below this level of support, which was sitting at around 29.7k. And so once again, as I said yesterday, this simply means we have an active price target to the downside, which is sitting at around 28,500. So if you're measuring from the current Bitcoin price to that price target, at the time of recording this video, that's still around another 2% drop in the price of Bitcoin, and a total of a 4% drop if you entered a trade at the point of the break. So obviously, so far, this has been a profitable trade if you have been watching this pattern and this technical price target. And obviously, as of right now, with that bearish divergence still currently playing out and the momentum in the short term looking more bearish than bullish, it's very clear that at least in the short term on the smaller time frames, we're still looking more bearish than bullish. But once again, this is all currently occurring within a larger multi-month long bullish trend here on the much larger time frames. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of ETH is currently still moving towards this important area of support, sitting in between 1770 to 1820. 1890. And obviously this is happening a few days now after we saw a confirmed break below this ascending line of support, which was sitting at around 1890, which should now be acting as new resistance. And now if you're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, right now the daily Ethereum RSI is still looking relatively neutral, but it is potentially starting to flip more bearish, especially if we confirm a lower high in place, which would confirm a new downtrend in the RSI. And if you're looking at the daily Ethereum MACD, this is also potentially starting to flip more bearish. But with that being said, it is still showing relatively low momentum in the short term compared to some of these previous movements, which means we shouldn't necessarily expect a massive quick crash in the price of ETH here on the daily time frame. And instead, like I've been saying over the last few days, we're likely going to see either a slight pullback in the short term or potentially a little bit of choppy sideways price action in between the bearish price action, which so far has been playing out as expected. And now if you're zooming into the 6-hour ETH to US dollar chart, obviously we are continuing the short-term break to the downside below that ascending line of support, which once again was sitting at around 1890 and is now sitting closer towards 1.9k, which once again should be acting as strong resistance like what we saw over the last 1 to 2 days. We saw a strong rejection from that level. And so it's very clear that in the imminent short term, we're looking more bearish than bullish when you're talking about the shorter term trend and momentum. And staying on the 6-hour time frame, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool from swing low to swing high, we have the 50% retracement level acting as support at around 1820 to 1830, which is where the price of ETH is currently finding some support. But if we see a confirmed break well below around 1820, then in that case, next we have the important golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 1760 to 1770. And now if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make money in a choppy sideways price range. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out the first link down below in the description, and I'll see you all in the next video.